This week on GamePron News, the big screen adaptation of Uncharted starts disappointing fans before the crew even starts filming. Games trade-ins get a new interpretation in Australia, Crytek and Double Fine reveal their latest projects, the newly open source Kinect is hacked to control your desktop PC, the Rolling Stones get a sales boost from Call of Duty Black Ops, and Axl Rose is back in the headlines suing Activision over the use of his songs in Guitar Hero. Hi, I'm Jessica Citizen. Film adaptations of video games rarely go smoothly, but Uncharted is upsetting gamers well before it's hit the cinema. Ever since the revelation that the PS3 bestseller would be adapted for the big screen, gamers have been buzzing with anticipation over the casting of lead role Nathan Drake. A quick look around the internet's revealed everybody was hoping for Nathan Fillion in the lead role. Fillion is best known for his role as space cowboy Captain Mal in Firefly, and he's generally a nice nerdy guy, so the part would be perfect. Unfortunately, writer and director David O. Russell and the powers that be thought otherwise, announcing that Mark Wahlberg will be stepping into Drake's boots instead. If you're not scared by that news, I have two words for you. Max Payne. Mr. Wahlberg has said he hopes to start filming the new movie this summer, and also mentioned that Hollywood veterans Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci may also be starring as Nathan Drake's father and uncle. Neither character appeared in the game, so that could be interesting. Whether or not it's interesting enough to save the project remains to be seen. Across the industry, the concept of second-hand video games is a controversial one, with game trade-ins seen by many as a bit of unpleasantness that should be done away with. In the face of this week's release of Gran Turismo 5, one Australian retailer announced an interesting twist on the concept, allowing customers to trade their toy cars towards the purchase of the game. The EB Games deal was only valid on launch day and saw gamers able to trade a maximum of 20 cars, with each one knocking 50 cents off the total purchase price. Rather than keeping a huge pile of Hot Wheels for themselves, EB Games donated every one of them to local charities to help out with their Christmas efforts. We haven't heard much from the stores since they were busy counting cars on Thursday, but here's hoping it went more smoothly than the launch of the game itself. That's seen developers Polyphony Digital suggesting that gamers try playing GT5 without connecting to the PlayStation Network. It seems the game's data center just couldn't handle the influx of racers when the game was launched, which isn't really surprising given how long we've all been waiting. The devs have tried to fix the problem, but if you've been planning a bit of Gran Turismo over the weekend, my advice is to try giving some offline single player, just to give the hardware a bit of a rest. Crytek are back with a new first-person shooter, Warface. Unlike the blockbuster Crysis series, this one's taking a different approach. It'll be free to play and it's focusing on Korea and other Asian markets rather than heading straight to the West. It looks pretty interesting too. It's got the CryEngine 3 behind it and promises class-based PvP and dramatic multiplayer co-op. Currently in development at Crytek Seoul, Warface will debut on PC and South Korea sometime soonish. Nothing's been said about the game coming to other regions or other platforms, but I wouldn't hold your breath. One thing you can look forward to getting your hands on, however, is the new one from Double Fine, Stacking. It's a game about Matryoshka, Russian nesting dolls, and you play as Charlie Blackmore, a young chimney sweep who is trying to save his family from slavery. Stacking is being created by a team working with Lee Petty, art director on Brutal Legends, so you know it's going to be good. We've already been promised a great story, awesome characters, and the sort of setting you know and love from old school adventure games, all stacked up with an all new way to interact. It's coming out on PS3 and Xbox 360 in the first half of next year. Now, the Kinect was hacked within just a few short weeks of being publicly available. Microsoft aren't traditionally huge fans of people messing with their stuff, but given the amazing number of brilliant mods that are being developed on a daily basis, they've quickly changed their tune. Apparently, the camera's USB connection was left unprotected not by accident, but by design, so clever nerds could take advantage and develop their own software to use the motion sensor. Whether or not you believe that, there is some technology around these days that looks more like something out of Minority Report than what you'd expect to see in your living room. They haven't yet convinced the peripheral to see the future and predict crimes, but applications like Depth.js are changing the way we interact with our home PCs. Depth.js has been created by the MIT Media Lab Fluid Interfaces group and combines JavaScript with Kinect, enabling the user to navigate websites with the wave of a hand. Another group, Evoluce, are working on a similar concept, Multiplied. They're using the multi-touch input manager for Kinect and turning it into a gesture-based solution for Windows 7. Both of these projects are still in their infancy and represent some of the earliest baby steps for the technology, But if this is where we are after a month of playing with the hardware, where could we be in a year? Call of Duty Black Ops smashed video game sales record, selling more than 5.6 million copies in the blink of an eye. With the inclusion of the Rolling Stones' Gimme Shelter in the game, that's an awful lot of people who suddenly found themselves with Mick Jagger in their headphones, and from the sounds of things, a lot of those people thought it was a bit of alright. In the week after the release of the launch trailer featuring the song, Gimme Shelter sold over 5,000 copies. That's more than double the previous week. In the week of the game's release, the number more than doubled again, with the Rolling Stones selling nearly 11,000 copies of the track. Sympathy for the Devil, another Stones track, also featured in the game, and it also experienced a massive boost, with sales nearly doubling in the week following the game's launch. Apparently, if you're in a band, you want a bit of a boost, get your song included in a video game trailer, particularly one this huge. However, if you're in a band and you want the wrong sort of publicity, bite the hand that feeds you. That's what Guns N' Roses frontman Axl Rose is busily doing this week, filing a lawsuit against Guitar Hero publishers Activision. Axl is suing them for fraud, breach of contract and unjust enrichment, among other claims, and most of the drama surrounds Gunner's tune Welcome to the Jungle, which was featured in Guitar Hero 3 Legends of Rock. It's alleged that Activision have breached their contract by prominently featuring guitarist Slash in imagery associated with the song, rather than vocalist and majority trademark owner Axl. Apparently, this exploits the prior association between Slash and Guns N' Roses, as well as promoting Slash himself and, even worse, his new band Velvet Revolver. Axl claims that Activision promised him that Guitar Hero 3 would not include any reference to his former guitarist or to Velvet Revolver, so you can imagine he was a little bit miffed when the game was released, featuring an animated depiction of Slash all over the box art. There's a few other bits and pieces in the suit too, but the short version is Axl Rose is suing Activision for $20 million just because he doesn't want people to associate him with his former bandmate. It'll be interesting to see how this all pans out. Till next week, I'm Jessica Citizen and this is GamePron News.